What up, Street Dogs? Eric Kim. All right, so another thought. Professionalism is for suckers. So let me explain. The basic gist is, like, everyone in modern society, it's like everyone wants to talk a certain way, walk a certain way, act a certain way. And the downside is it makes for a very boring, gray culture. And certainly in society, professionalism is probably one of the things holding us back. So let me explain what I mean. So to be professional, you know, the word means profession, profess. It's kind of like a faith thing. And what we're trying to do in society, it's like in-group versus out-group. And, you know, so if you're gonna hire a dentist or a lawyer or somebody, you want them to kind of like look the part. Now the problem is, we end up becoming actors and we fail to diversify the world. So this is why I'm very anti New York Times, New Yorker type of writing, because it tends toward this like monocultural of like the elite left, rather than allowing for a plurality of different voices and different thoughts. So for example, me, Eric Kim, I talk different than, you know, everyone else I meet. And why do I talk different? Because I'm just like I was raised differently, right? Like I grew up in the Bay Area, grew up to hip hop music. I'm 32 years old, so I grew up in the 90s. And so certainly I'm gonna talk like a typical Californian or whatever. And what really holds us back is we tend to think that there's only one right way to talk about things or do things. And the downside is everyone just starts acting the same, behaving the same, or whatever. And if we really do believe in diversification of society or peoples, then certainly it's a good thing to allow yourself to talk the way you normally do, not to censor yourself and not try to make yourself sound more professional or whatever. Because one of the biggest downsides is, yeah, everyone's just trying to talk the same, and it's so boring. Like, you know, even as a Californian, I say like every other word. And I've tried to unlearn myself to say like, but fuck it, I can't do it no more. And so as a consequence, I feel like I'm able to more freely express my thoughts and express myself in a more authentic way. Because now I'm not so concerned about like goodness or rightness or whatever. I'm more concerned about authenticity, where, you know, whatever I'm sharing with you is authentic, it's real. I'm not fronting, I'm not faking. And the way I grew up is the only criminal thing you could do is to fake or to front. And so, like, you know, in rap music and hip hop culture, to fake and front, to be something you're not, is seen as the ultimate evil. So I know for myself, my goal is to make myself as naked with you as possible, to not censor any of my defects or whatever. And this is why I shoot everything in just one take, because the real world ain't perfect. Why are we trying to create media which seems perfect? Because the real world is far more complex. Now, my ultimate ambition is to motivate more people to think independently, to think more for themselves. And so certainly I care about society, I care about the world, and I don't want everyone just acting the same way, to talk the same way, and to behave the same way, because, you know, considering that I'm passionate about sociology, society, because of social media and, you know, media in general, we're becoming more and more the same. So even the far left, the far right, everyone's a little bit misguided. You end up falling into this filter bubble of talking, behaving all the way that your friends do on, you know, Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And the better goal is for you to allow yourself to become like a rare plant, where, you know, you just creatively isolate yourself from the rest of the world and you allow yourself your own unique thoughts to come out. Because I really think it's kind of like a signal to noise thing, is that the more noise you're imputing into your head, the more the more you're just going to be imitating others rather than allowing yourself to give it your own take. Now, imitation is not a bad thing, but I think imitation is only bad when we don't know that we're imitating. We think what we're doing is original. And I know for myself, I'm the happiest when I'm just being me. And you know the saying, do you? It's kind of a good, I think actually it's kind of a good notion, because everyone talks differently from different walks of life and stuff like that. And everyone has their own unique style and approach. And not every single shoe fits every single foot, nor should it. We shouldn't apply this like pro-custom bed approach to society where just because you don't fit the bed, you're chopping off your limbs to fit the bed. But I think this is my concern, is that modern education tries to make us good test takers, tries to make us good PC, politically correct. So the biggest detriment to society is the PC police, people who try to get you to talk certain ways, and people who try to essentially censor you or make you feel guilty about expressing a certain belief or thought. Now, certainly the greatest good is freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of action and activity. It's not money, it's not power, it's not wealth and stuff like that. It's essentially freedom over yourself, faculty of free thinking and free expression. So expression means to take whatever's in you and to push it out into the real world. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, unfortunately YouTube is actually not a freedom of speech platform because it's owned by Google. Google's is a company, it's not a government. So if you want true freedom of speech, you got to start your own website that's self-hosted by yourself, register on bluehost.com, install wordpress.org, and then allow yourself to have the courage to freely pursue any sort of philosophical ideas or artistic creative stuffs without having anyone censor you. Because you upload to Instagram, Facebook, whatever, sooner or later you're gonna get censored somehow. And to me, censorship is probably one of the worst things in the world. And it is certainly not in the best interest of society to have free thinkers. The point of society is for us to become good worker bees, for us to obey. And if you don't obey, you're gonna kind of mess up the whole society and culture. So essentially, like if you watch Wreck-It Ralph 2, you essentially want to become the glitch, and you want to glitch society, or like become Neo from the Matrix. Is that there's a certain way that the world runs, and I think life is so much more interesting when you could just kind of turn that rule on its head. You approach life a little bit differently, and just because you pursue your own personal truth doesn't mean you're going to be rewarded with wealth, cars, and lady friends. So my personal virtue is, the ultimate virtue is courage, bravery, brazenness, and the worst vice is probably cowardice. And the nice thing is, these are two things you can control. You could control the degree of courage and bravery you exhibit and engage in and act, and you can also control how cowardly you're gonna be. So like even in street photography, it's either you're brave and fearless or you're cowardly and you hesitate. And ultimately at the end of the day, it ain't about making the greatest artwork in the world. It's more about augmenting your own personal potential to your own potential. And because everyone is a different shell in a different body, one should not use oneself or any sort of metric as the ultimate rule. So strive to augment yourself to the maximum. Don't allow yourself to self-censor yourself. Don't be politically correct. Give up. Do professionalism and just be you.